I want to continue with this stuff. So the next thing that we're going to talk about in detail is assignments. So an assignment of a contract. When you have a contract, you've got equity. You have ownership. Well, ownership of the contract, not maybe ownership of the property yet. In other words, you've got the control, but you have a stake in what's going on. Now, you've probably heard the idea that you cannot take a commission or get paid on any type of real estate transaction within the United States without a license. That's true. I can't think of one state out of the 50 that doesn't require you to be licensed to take a commission on a real estate transaction that you do not own, by the way, that you do not have an equitable interest. I want you to write that down, equitable interest in. So one of the things that I think is important for you to really follow is the idea that control, a lot of times, gives you that equitable interest in that property. When you have a property under contract, you've got equitable interest in that property. You can actually sell that interest to somebody else. And that is, in essence, what an assignment of contract is. You're assigning that to somebody else, and you are assigning your equitable interest to somebody else. That has value in the open market. Because you own that equitable interest, you do not need to be licensed to do that. So I think if you're going to be working on assignments, by the way, if you're working on assignments, I think you should use a similar clause in your contract, be it on the addendum or if it's a commercial property. I think you could probably put that in the actual body of the contract, but it needs to be what is called an assignment clause. Okay? So when you sit with your attorney and you're putting together your meeting, and if your focus is assignments, I'm going to tell you why you should be looking at assignments today. But when you're looking at assignments, you should have something along these lines, okay? Buyer has the right to assign contract to another individual or entity of choice. Something along those lines. And that's actually going to be in your contract. If it's a residential contract, something that is mandated by the state that you're investing in, you're typically, I would like to see you put that on an addendum. I don't necessarily like to see that at the beginning of the contract, like John Dessauer and/or signs. I don't like to see that as much as I like to see it either in the body of the contract or at the end. Why? Seller psychology tells us that a seller, when they get a contract in, they look at the first page, obviously, and they want to see who's buying it and for how much. And when they say who's buying it, they're going to see that and/or signs. Immediately that's going to trigger something, or at least it should, in their mind. I don't necessarily want them to see that first. So in an assignment of contract, everybody got that? In an assignment of contract, if I were doing that, let's just say that I was in this market. And I think you can tell by working with Derek yesterday and the other agent that presented today, pocket listings are one way that you can fish upstream. Does everybody agree to that? You get more opportunity there. not only to buy things at a discount, but buy things before the rest of the competition gets there. I think that would be very smart for somebody working in sexy markets. Phoenix, Florida, Las Vegas. I would focus on assignments as at least part of my business there. Okay? I think you need to build a buyer's list. Yoshi, did you talk about buyers, how to attract buyers? Yes. Did you give them my truly tested criteria for getting a buyer's list?
I didn't share that.
You didn't. I will.
Okay.
I will. You like it though. Do you endorse it?
I endorse it.
You endorse it. All right. How many people would like to know how to get a buyer's list? Let's focus on the $70,000 market. Here in Las Vegas. How many people are doing that right now? I see more hands today than I saw yesterday. But how many people would like to have a buying list for interested buyers of $70,000 homes in the Las Vegas market? How many people? Okay, great. I'm glad a lot of hands went up. And that's because I'm going to give you my true, tested approach to that. Guaranteed results. Guaranteed. Yoshi backs this up. He endorses it. So, to get a list of buyers, boy, I like standing in the light. It's almost like I'm at a Las Vegas show right now. Is this good for the camera too? No, he's saying no. So he's like, please move over. So, I just like that so much. Okay. So if this is my target market, and my market is like 50,000 to 80,000. You saw yesterday how that's definitely doable. Definitely doable. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say, you know what? Next Saturday or next Sunday, this is where it gets creative, in quotes, I'm going to go to open houses of all properties within the $50,000 to $70,000 range. You might think, what is he talking about? He's wanting to get a buyer's list, and now he's talking about going to open houses. I'll tell you why. Because somebody else has done the marketing for you, and at every open house I've ever attended, they have a sign-up list. That sign-up list has the first name, it also has the last name, and it has the email. And when I go to that sign-up list, I approach it with equipment. This is my equipment right here. I am armed and dangerous when I walk into an open house right here. Because I've already got my finger, my thumb, very near the picture button. I walk up to the table kind of like a cowboy would. That's also my same walk when Cedric gave me the virus. So I'm here. For those of you that got in today, you're probably thinking, he got a virus from Cedric? Yeah, I got a virus from that damn Cedric. Here in Vegas. In the room. Anyway, so I walk up to the table, I'm like, oh, I got to sign in. Click it. And I have a wonderful list of buyers looking in my target market. Now, you might say to me, John, isn't that a little unethical? Yes. But it is a necessary evil for you. And obviously, if something's blatant, I'm not telling you to break the law. Yes, I am. But you get my point. Sometimes you have to, right? You got to hustle. Because if you don't hustle, I guarantee somebody else is. Somebody else is. I would be doing that right now. Do you think that I'd be going to the open house in the morning? No, no. I'm going to go with 15 minutes left in the open house. You want to get a more full list. And if it's a 2-day open house, I'm going to show up 15 minutes prior to closing on the second day just to get another look at the house. You see, I am going to be required to sign in again. You got my point? Okay? So, you've got a great list of pre-qualification letter. How perfect. You've got email addresses to send a pre-qualification letter to. What does something like this look like? Well, gosh, I'm sending out an email that says something like, I am a real estate investor here in the Las Vegas area. I focus on filling my houses with buyers, and the typical price range is between $50,000 and $80,000. You see, $50,000 and $80,000. Blah, 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 goes on, goes on. And I'm going to get a response back from that. Because the other thing that I'm putting in that pre-qualification letter is low down, easy monthly payments. Now you might think, well, John, you're assigning this. That's right. I'm assigning it. But I've got to have something in my letter that hooks them. Anybody fish in here? Who fishes? Okay, quite a few guys. At some point, you've got to engage that fish. Hello, fish. But you've got to engage it. You've got to get the hook engaged to catch the fish. I'm not the greatest fisherman, but I do know a little bit about it. The same thing here. Low down, easy monthly payments. You just want them to call you. What's so hot about that today is because even though the real estate market here in the States, here in Vegas, has gone down over the years, the hottest part of the market right now, does anybody know? Does anybody ask that question to the agents? Does anybody know the hottest part of the single-family house market today? Entry-level housing. Why? Anybody know? What is it? That's all the money they have? No, not necessarily. Maybe a little bit. What is it? First-time home buyers. Yes. What's significant about that? They have good credit or maybe no credit, but that doesn't matter. Why?
Go to the bank.
The what?
The bank.
The bank. What about the bank? This is what you have to know. FHA, First-Time Homebuyers Program. You can have a credit score of 620, which is fairly low on the FICO scale, and you can get qualified for an entry-level home with how much down? 3%. 3% down. If I was in a sexy market today, Florida, Las Vegas, Phoenix, where's Charles at? Charles, Dallas, whoever else is in Phoenix, do you know where some $25,000 houses are? Yeah, I would be implementing this strategy immediately. I'd be assigning contracts. That's one strategy I'd be using today in a sexy market. For the fine details of this, I want you to be working with your coach on this. Your coach should be helping you out with this, okay? I want you to, we talked about the and/or assigns. When you're assigning contracts, I want you to have an escape clause. An escape clause. Because remember, you're putting a contract, this is, by the way, if you have no money, but earnest money to put down, $1,000 to hold it. So this is a strategy used when you don't have a lot of money. Some of you may be saying, well, that's great because I don't have a lot of money. You can use this today. This is a way that you can make money today. So on this $70,000 contract for this house, the escape clause is going to be based on your due diligence, 30 days. Now again, you may not be able to do this with a Fannie or Freddie, Home Path, Home Steps, but you could do this with most of the properties we saw yesterday, without a doubt. And this was one of the strategies that clicked in my mind. I put it to the side on what I would use if I focused here. You have to shop your contract. You do that for that with that letter that goes out. Let's say that you got 20 Buyers, you send out that letter. You get 3 responses back. You should get about 10%. Call me, I've got houses for you. Easy down payment, easy financing. It's not you that's presenting it. Who is it? Anybody know? This is what the ironic thing is. You guys are Canadians. I am too now. We're Canadians. But we're telling these people that call about FHA lending. 90% of the first-time home buyers in America have no idea about FHA loans. 3% down, 90%. They have no idea about this. So the one thing I'm writing down right now, if I were you, and you're focused on a sexy market, is find out everything you can about an FHA loan and what banks give those. The majority of banks do. I would know the criteria. 620, I think, is the FICO. I would know the percent down, 3% down. What's 3% down on $70,000? $2,100. In some cases, you can even give that to them because they will allow 3.5% seller contribution. So you are going to ask for that in the contract that you have with the seller. Does everybody see that? So now you're saying, when you say low down payment, and you actually talk to them on the phone, you're going to say, listen, we've got a program that we can actually get you in the house with no money down. Maybe even you might get a check at closing. Do you see the hook that I just put in their mouth? Right? So, the next thing is assigning that contract. So you've got it under contract for 70. You're going to assign it for, let's not get greedy, you're going to assign it for 73, 74, 75,000. I'm sorry, 3, 4, 5,000. So their total in is 73, 74, 75,000. This is just one strategy. You can do this on bigger properties as well. But I thought about assignment of contract as a technique for every single one of those properties. Every single one of those properties. The key is the financing. You have nothing to, we as Canadians, wink, have nothing to do with that FHA financing. But 90% of those buyers don't know anything about it. They think it takes 10 to 20% in today's market. That's absolutely not true. Penny.
The thing that Wells Fargo is doing here in Las Vegas, is that the same sort of idea, the Wells Fargo Foundation?
There's a few programs like that where they have down payment assistance. That's what you're talking about? Yeah. There's a few. If we've got, rather than Penny, she's got a bum leg, but we need you to come up to the microphone. We need your question specific too. There's a few programs that have down payment assistance, like Nehemiah program, Wells Fargo program, where they participate in that 3% down if you qualify. So you've got to go through a qualification process. Again, by adding that, just that little thing, you might be able to get your list of buyers in with no down payment. The thing that realtors don't do very good, at open houses especially, because do they send the expert, the best real estate agent, to sit there all day at an open house? No! They send the person that just got their license last week. And they do not do a very good job of explaining what the hook is. The hook is what? I just told you what the hook is. Financing. Come on, you want to make money? I'm going to show you how to make money. Now you might say, well, John, we're only making 3, 4, or 5 grand. Right. But I saw, out of that 8, 9 properties I saw yesterday, 7 at least, 8 that I could do this on. Let's just say I was not an overachiever and I only did 3. And I made 4 grand on each one. So I made 12 grand in 1 month. Not enough to live on, but a good start. Right? You see what I mean? Do you see? I'm serious. Yeah, really. That's just one segment of my business. And, you know, if I had my significant other and they didn't really want to mess with multifamily units, then I'm going to teach them how to do assignment of contract. Because you could do that right now. Right now. Dallas. It's on.
I just recently read an article on CNN. Costco's now coming out with mortgages. So are they going to be in an advantage position in order to get what we need out of the assignment?
I don't think, who cares? Costco, they're coming out, great. What I'm telling you is you got something right now today, FHA. So they may do an FHA loan, I don't know, maybe. You'll have to look at the terms, I guess is what I'm saying. Forget about what's coming out with Costco in the future, even though you want to look at the terms. You got something in right now. Don't look at anything else. Tunnel, vision, focus. Steve talked about focus today. You've already got them all in place. You can get your buyer's list of 20, and if you get to them and say, hey, I can get you in that house with no money down. No money down. They have no idea about an FHA program. And buyer assistance, come on. It's like almost taking candy from a baby. If you lost everything today, everything, money, house, everything, this one strategy you could make money to survive on every day. Okay? Yes?
So can you help me connect the dots with this FHA loan?
It's on. You just need to get closer to the mic. Be a star. Be a star.
With the FHA loan,
Much more of a star. Love it. Yes. Love it.
with the FHA loan, if you get something under contract and you got to send it out, you blast out an email to all your potential buyers, how quick can they get this FHA loan under their belt? Or do you have to get them to pre-qualify first?
It takes about 30 days. Now, you just threw in a wrinkle. What if they don't pre-qualify? Then we may have to go a different direction. But it's going to take at least 30 days.
Okay, but if they pre-qualify, but are they now qualified to go anywhere with that FHA?
They can go to any bank that offers FHA insured financing. FHA, by the way, is going to act just like Fannie Mae, just like Freddie Mac does. All they do is they insure the loan. They can get the loan at Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Chase, ABC Bank of Las Vegas. As long as they do FHA financing, first home buyer financing. Hottest on the market right now. Yes?
Okay, so once they're qualified, do they now have a mortgage in their pocket? They can go to your competitor and buy it.
I got a feeling that when you work with them and you create, what is this all about? Relationships. You create the relationship, you got them. You're telling them about that, hey, I can get you in this.
Thank you very much.
You got it, thank you. Was that your Elvis impression, Peter? Right on, man.
Cowboy.
Right on. Has everybody got this? Who's doing this? Who's going to do this? Okay, all right. If you're not going to do this, don't worry, I got more stuff. I got more. You want to buy a watch? You know what I mean?